How is up, it's Angel. I hope that you are doing well out there. I am feeling good today. I'm feeling really good. I feel like I'm ready to conquer the future. I'm excited. And yeah, I just want to do some reflections today on my past few days, I guess. Yeah, I came back from a trip from Delaware. I've never been to Delaware before. I didn't even know it existed, honestly, as a state in the US. But anyways, it was a good vibe, and I went with family actually. It was my first, I guess, family trip with like relatives and stuff. And it was really nice to get to bond with them and have the whole experience with them. It was really interesting for me because like I've been doing a lot of traveling and I've done it like I guess 95% alone, and it's been good. I'm really used to that. That's my routine. My routine in general is always like being on my own, doing my own thing. I'm really used to just kind of talking to myself, or like I do talk to myself in general. I don't give a shit. I'm not ashamed of it. And I just make a lot of observations while I am alone about like other people, the people around me, strangers. And when I'm like on social media, just making observations all the time. I'm driving and I make observations. I'm just a very observant person, and I like to listen a lot more than talk. I do enjoy talking, obviously. I'm here talking, but I just love like kind of absorbing information around me within my surroundings, right? So being with other people, I got to make a lot of observations, and even observations about myself and how it was to be with like other people. Because I'm someone who is always like, I do enjoy the company of others, especially when I do enjoy those people. I love my family. I'm always gravitating towards like my own alone time. I find that when I am with other people, I'm in a way masking myself. Like everyone always puts on this sort of a mask, like a mask that you have with like strangers, and then your friends, and then your family, and then yourself, right? Like, who are you when you are alone? So I put this front up in front of different kinds of people depending who they are. If with like hanging out with a really chill person, I tend to be more like laid back, and I guess I kind of reflect the energy that they give off to me. That's a habit of mine. I don't know why, but I tend to like be a bit of a chameleon. If you're gonna be very energetic with me and excited and silly, I'm gonna like bring out that part of me to that person, towards that person, because I do have that side. But I'm not gonna be silly and goofy with someone who is really like serious or something. It doesn't make any sense. So I just like reflect the energy back towards other people. So I was with my family, and I guess like reflecting the energy that I was, I guess, absorbing as I'm absorbing information around this group of people, and like how should I behave in this way, right? And of course, like again, I am like masking a part of myself of what I feel like is appropriate in front of those people. But I found like really interesting as I was observing myself of like how much I was thinking to myself of like I'm enjoying the moment right now, but I'm also like really missing like traveling alone right now. Like I felt like I almost want to go somewhere else and just do a whole different trip and just be on my own, which is really interesting. I guess it's nice that I do enjoy myself and my own company so much that it's almost a little bit addicting. But yeah, I just found that very interesting coming like as I was observing myself. I guess this can kind of come out when you start to live like authentically as yourself, not just by yourself, but with other people. And yeah, I've gotten to this point of I'm very confident in who I am, and I don't really mask my personality or my true personality as much as I do now with other people. But I found that on this trip, like, since I am observant, I tend to be very quiet in nature. I know I've always had my whole life of like, comments of like, why are you so quiet? You're such a shy, quiet person. I'm not as shy anymore because the people that are new in my life, when I tell them I've had a history of being like known as the quiet person, they don't believe me. They think that's impossible. Like you're fucking crazy or you're loud, which I am. Yes, I am. But I know that like my most natural state, I feel like, is quiet. And so when you are around people, I'm traveling with like my family. Like they know that I've always been like a quiet person, but like I find my quietness now is different in a way that it's not like shy, right? It's just being like generally quiet. Like it's just part of your nature that you like to not talk as much. You kind of like just like feeling. I just like being in a state of receiving, I guess. Receiving like again information, receiving energy, receiving like the senses around me by what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing, what I'm feeling and stuff like that. And I noticed that I just throughout the trip I gave less of a fuck. I was just kind of like, you know what? Like, I don't really feel like talking right now. I kind of just feel like being quiet, just being myself. Whether, regardless of what they might be thinking of me, if they are thinking maybe there is something wrong, or are you just being your quiet self, or whatever. I feel like they didn't really notice anything, but I just kind of, started showing, not being afraid of unmasking myself, or not being afraid of just like, this is the way I feel in the moment. Like, there was times where I felt like I was just overstimulated, some of the places we went to, and I just felt like I need to just like go home, and like I need to go home, or just do something where I'm not like around loud noises or bright lights or something like that. Like, I had to just like be still for a moment. And when I was in that environment, I didn't care. I was just like, you know what, I feel like being quiet right now. Even though I'm in a loud environment, I just felt like being myself and just like whatever. And it was really nice to actually just like not give as much of a shit, just to be, however it is you feel in the moment, to just let it go. Like, you don't have to like fit in with other people all the time. Like, I feel like as people, we're always like gravitated towards, or it's just a normal thing, like to want to be accepted by other people. You don't want people to judge you or like outcast you in some way because you're a little bit weird or strange or different, which in this case, like during moments of this trip, I was being a little more different than the energy that was around, or the energy of the environment we were in. I was maybe different sometimes, but just not caring, I guess. And it's really liberating to just like let it go, you know what I mean? To just unmask yourself. And even times where like when I am traveling, especially to somewhere like the ocean means the world to me. It's like it's everything to me. It's like all of like my human life. Like, there's more to like life, but in terms of my human life, I love the ocean. The ocean just brings me so much peace in like in everything. Like, it doesn't matter what problem I have in life or how I'm feeling in a moment. I'm seeing the ocean, I'm listening to the ocean, or I'm walking in the water, like I'm just completely like healed. I feel like I'm healed in a way. And when I'm around the ocean, I just feel like being very deep and in the moment and kind of hypnotized by the water. And I found myself doing that a lot, of just like, everyone's doing their own thing, having fun, being a little silly, and I'm, half the time kind of just sitting there in the sand, like looking at the water and not saying anything, and just, letting myself go, letting myself feel the way I want to in the moment, of not trying to match everyone else's energy so much, and just letting my own energy in, like the energy that wants to be present at that time. So yeah, I guess it's really important to be yourself a lot, like as much as you can, because I know that masking our personalities or our true selves is such a natural thing for us in a way, even though I feel like it should be natural to just be yourself 24/7, even though I don't really feel like that's possible, especially towards strangers. You're not just gonna be like super blunt or whatever, or you're gonna have some sort of a filter, right? But it's just nice to start slowly unmasking, is something that I'm noticing with myself, and especially during this trip, which I really enjoyed. It made the trip more enjoyable to not be like so exhausted from like fitting in and like reflecting the energy back towards other people of what they're giving to me, right? Because it just becomes so exhausting to not really be your true self. And I would say majority of the time was being the way that I really felt in the moment. And it was really nice, and it makes like the whole experience of like not just being on my own being enjoyable, but also being with other people, being like having fun in that moment, to enjoy myself in that moment too. I think it's really important to not always please other people, and to always just accept the way that you are, accept that you have a certain nature to yourself that you don't have to be hiding all of the time. I think it will improve the quality of your own life, of your own spirituality. I'm such an advocate for being yourself. It's something that has been one of my themes in my life, of like, it's even in my outer appearance, of like the importance of just being yourself, what your personality is, what you stand for, your own values, what your identity is, right? The importance of not being afraid to show that to the world, even if people do judge you for it. That if you are happiest in that moment, or at that time, or in your life in general, of who you are and what you're standing for, you're proud of who you are, like that's the most important thing in my opinion. And I think by unmasking yourself, you're also being vulnerable with other people in that moment. There's a vulnerability to it, to unshedding yourself towards others. I have like a huge thing for me with vulnerability and intimacy, but vulnerability, like just being so unfiltered towards somebody else. It could be simple, like it could be like even just crying in front of someone, like you're showing your true colors, your true feelings towards somebody. There's like a vulnerability, right? It could be in anything. It's so vast, like I can't really explain it, but I'm getting to that point now. Like I've had like relationships with people and stuff, and the connections that I have with people now, and learning to just like slowly, but I'm also doing it pretty quickly now, of like being vulnerable. Being vulnerable, requiring it to like unmask your personality, yourself, showing it in your own appearance. What do you stand for? How do you express yourself? Who are you? And letting the world know who you are. So I just want to talk a little bit about that observation that I made about myself during that trip. There were so many observations I made that maybe I'll like kind of dive or create different topics and other videos about it. But that's just something that I noticed about myself, was like I'm just giving less of a shit, and it's really nice. It's nice to just not care about so much about the way people are gonna perceive you. Like it's not that deep. It really isn't. I think if you're enjoying yourself in that moment, that really is all that matters. I feel like it's almost a step closer to living an authentic life where it's less and less exhausting to have to pretend to the world, to play pretend. But yeah, I've always done things for other people. I've always shown myself to the world in a way that people want to see me. How do they want to see me? How should I be behaving for other people? Never living an authentic life. And like over the years, I've made huge progress towards, you know, my own identity, who I really am, what do I stand for, who do I want to be, for myself, and what do I want the world to see, or how I want them to perceive me. And that's why like I'm at this place where I like love myself so much, and I have a lot more confidence and self-esteem, whereas I used to never have that whatsoever, which is why like I never even really understood myself or never knew how to identify being. I was always being a certain way for other people. I was always coming out to the world in a way that they wanted to see me. I think that whole journey is a long journey that starts somewhere and it progressively, you know, improves depending, you know, if you're willing to dive into that journey. And this is where I'm at in my journey now. I've made so much progress, and now I'm just slowly starting to like get to this point where I'm just expressing who I really am. And I'm finding so much more empowerment in myself every single day doing it. And I hope it inspires you too, you know. But take the steps that you need to as well. There is no pressure to go at a certain pace, you know. Whatever pace is for you, works for you. So yeah, I just want to talk about that today. It was a great trip. And yeah, I'm excited to do more traveling alone when I'm at my most like natural state or whatever. But you know, as I'm with other people, I'm getting there, and I'm really proud of myself. That's all I got to say. And if you are on the same journey, or you know, you're proud of yourself too, I want to give you your own like clap, and like that I'm proud of you too, man. And we're doing good. We're doing great. So yeah, if it's nice out where you are today, go for a nice walk. I went out for a little walk today. I would do a video outside, but it's very windy right now. Probably make one tomorrow. And yeah, I'm sending you good vibes, and I'll see you in the next video.